So let's start the session. As you guys know, this is Abu Bakar Pasha. I'll just start with my brief introduction. I've qualified CSS two times in 2015 and in 2021. Both of the times I qualified all of the written stages as well as the interviews, the psychological interview, as well as the final virus. Being from Punjab, I couldn't get allocation, but I have experience of passing CSS twice. And these days I'm mentoring the CSS students working with the Tabir Academy. So I welcome you all on this live stream and on this platform. The topic that we are covering today is the common mistakes which students are committing in the CSS and CSS MPT, the screening test. So we'll go in a manner that I'll first go through some common mistakes that students commit, and after that I'll take you to our courses on which we are offering on Tabir Academy, how you can join us and how you can improve your art of attempting the papers and all that, the courses we are offering. And finally, you guys could post your questions on YouTube and Zoom, so I will be answering them one by one. Two things that you need to keep in mind while working or while preparing for CSS and while attempting the CSS exams, I'm going to share with you, which I have utilized in two of my attempts, and that has helped me in qualifying both of the attempts. So the most common mistake is students sometimes overestimate the CSS preparation, and sometimes they underestimate the CSS preparation. When I talk about overestimating the CSS preparation, it comes when students think that it is unachievable. The courses are too lengthy. They tend to download all of the recommended books. They tend to download all of the optional books, and they start all of the books for a particular subject. So this comes under the overestimation of CSS. Underestimation comes when students are overconfident. They think that within 2 to 3 months they can just cram through the subjects like we are doing in our university semester systems. So underestimation of the CSS. So if anybody is not able to hear me clearly, please you can send message to you. Okay, fine. So I was talking about under preparation or underestimation of CSS and overestimation of CSS. So these are the two categories. This is the first mistake that you don't need to do. What you need to do is you need to evaluate skills, to evaluate your own capacity. You need to talk to some mentor, you need to talk to some teacher or senior, or at this age, after if you have done bachelor's or master's, a student, him or herself knows better if they have some weaknesses, if they have some issues, if they have some issues in English, if they have some issues in writing expression, academic expression. So this can be estimated by your own self. If you are not able to estimate yourself, then talk to some teacher, talk to some mentor, reach out to some senior.
You will evaluate your capacity, then you will be able to decide how many months you need to take or you need to give to this examination. Then you won't be able to underestimate or overestimate preparation, right? The second mistakes which I consider a crime which students are doing these days is choosing the optional subjects. What students are doing is they'll see the scorecards in a particular year, and then they'll ask some senior, some people would guide them that this is a scoring subject. They would come a term. They'll do is regardless degrees, regardless of their interest, they'll choose subjects which are haven't read ever or which doesn't like make sense to them. So they'll pick those subjects, and when they'll pick those subjects, they'll fail miserably. So choice of optional subject is one thing that needs to be considered very accurately. And in that, I'll have two advices for you people. That first, while choosing the optional, you must filter out 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 subjects from all of the list of the options if you are going for the very first time. So you'll need to filter out 8 to 12 subjects, and then you will need to see their syllabus given by FPSC. And when I say you need to see the syllabus given by FPSC, you don't need to go through, or you do need to go through all of the FPSC recommendations. You need to go through all of the points which FPSC has mentioned, and then brainstorm them, think about them. At the very first instance, when you hold the FPSC syllabus, think about what they are offering in the subject, what they are asking in that subject. At that point, if that clicks you, if it makes sense, then go ahead. If it doesn't, if it seems alien to you, if you think that this is something I've never imagined, or this is something I've never read of, what are these terminologies, then you do need to take a look back on your choice of it. The second option would be when you have gone through the syllabus given by FPSC, what you need to do now is you need to download 5 years past papers. Since 2016, the syllabus has changed. Make it 6 years. Download 2016 onwards papers and go through those papers of all those 8 to 12 subjects that you have filtered out. So when you will filter out 8 to 12 subjects and you will go through FPSC recommendations, and then you'll make points regarding those FPSC syllabus and guidelines, and then you'll download the papers, past papers, and then go through them. Give at least 1 or 2 weeks to this activity before starting your CSS preparation. You need to be sure what you are choosing as an optional subject, what interests you, and what attracts you. For example, if a student chooses international law based on its scoring trends, he might end up failing it because he has never read law. And when you'll pick the book of the international law, you'll come to the realization that this is a law and this cannot be crammed, or this cannot be conceptualized or written in your own words. This is a law. It needs to be written in the language of law. So if you can't learn that, you won't be able to pass it. It's not like the other papers in which you can go and write anything that comes to your mind. So this is a kind of a grave mistake. You need to choose those options which are likable by you, which you think interests you, or which, by looking at their syllabus or past papers, you have a gut feeling that you can do this, right? If you pick a subject which doesn't interest you, or you think that's very alien to me, when you will pick that subject after 2 months of preparation or after 1 month of preparation, you will come to know, no, this is not my cup of tea, and I'm going to skip this. So it will eventually waste your 2 months or your 1 month of very hard preparation, your brain's capacity, your energy, and everything. So at that, so before going to that point, what you need to do is, before starting your CSS preparation, go through your optional subjects very accurately and give time to selection of your optional subjects. Don't listen to people saying this is scoring, this is not scoring. No, choose your optionals first. Yeah, when you will have a set of 8 to 10 subjects, if for example you say that you can do more than 6 subjects, then you have this choice of going for some scoring subject. So what happens is that scoring subjects make you into the service. It guarantees your allocation or non-allocation. But the thing is that if you don't pass any subject, then the second debate won't come. If you have failed a subject, you won't reach that point where you are thinking about calculations, where you are thinking about which allocation group you will get, how many marks you will get in the interview. So that would come as the second hurdle. So you need to understand that first you will choose your optional. Second, you'll finalize your optionals. You will go through FPSC recommendations. You will go through the syllabus, and then after that, you will choose your optionals, which interests you, which makes you think that you can do that. Okay. Third mistake is throughout the year, students are studying. Students don't make notes. It's a compulsion that you make handouts, 1 paper or 2 paper handouts of each topic. Because CSS schedule is very tough. You need to go through 12 papers in almost 6 days. We have 2 papers in each day, and in those days you cannot memorize or revise anything. You'll need to have handouts of each of your topic. You need to comprehend that. You need to summarize that, and this will also help you in pressy writing as well. For example, you have studied an international relation topics or a current affairs topics, then make a summary of it and make a pressy of it. Sorry, there were some internet disruptions. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we were discussing that you need to make some handouts before going into the CSS preparation, before going into the final 2 months. Always make timelines. This is the fourth mistake. Students don't make schedules, or they make some hectic schedules which they fail to follow. You don't make impractical schedules, but you do need to make and allocate some time for your optional preparation and compulsory preparation. For example, you have 6 months, then divide those 6 months, leave apart the first 2 months, January and February of a year. These 2 months are for revision only. And before January of a particular CSS year, you need to finish your preparation. Then divide your preparation accordingly. For example, we are here in August. We have 4 months till January, and you decide to appear in the CSS exam this year. Then for these 4 months, what you need to do is you need to make a schedule. When you'll finish your compulsory subjects, when you'll finish your option subjects, when are you going to make your handouts of all of the subjects finalized, and then entering the 1st January of a particular year of CSS, you need to have all of your notes made up. You'll need to revise them and then go into the final preparation or final stages of the CSS examination. When going into the final examination, it's a very hectic process, as I've already told. It's not a memory exam. It tests everything. It tests your psychology. It tests your nerves. It tests your physical strength as well. Because attempting 2 papers in 1 day, 6 papers in 3 days, and almost 12 papers in 6 to 7 days, that's very hectic. It's physically tiring. It's mentally exhausting. You don't need to get time to sleep. You don't need to get time to eat enough. So these are the days when you don't need to prepare. You need to focus on your health. You should be mentally fresh. You should have appropriate sleep. You should have a schedule. You don't need to prepare in the final days like we in our academic system. What students mostly do is we start preparing on the last night or in the week of the exams. No, CSS is not like that. You need to be able to study appropriately far before the paper starts. You need to complete your preparation far before the preparation starts. So this is one of the mistakes that students does, that they keep on studying during the exams. They lose their sleep cycles. They don't get enough sleep. So after they do perform good in 1 or 2 papers or 1 or 2 days, like 4 exams, but going onwards into the week, on the third day or on the fourth day, I've seen many students fading out. I've seen many students dropping out just because of their health, the mental pressure. When you don't eat properly or when you don't sleep properly during the examination, you won't be able to perform better. So that's something that makes a lot of students drop out on the exams. So all of your preparation of the whole month which you have been doing, that will go in vain. And in the final days, just because you have shown some carelessness about your health, your sleep, and your eating habits, you'll you'll end up failing, unfortunately. So everything you need to be, it's the biggest exam of Pakistan. You need to be on your toes mentally, physically, psychologically as well. You need to understand realistically that this is not any other exam which you can go and just perform and you'll pass out your semester. No, this is not like that. So what we have covered so far is that the common mistakes that we have been doing is that we don't plan our CSS better, we don't choose our optionals better in a better way, we don't schedule our final attempting of the examination, we don't focus on our sleep and mental health in these days. So these are a few of the common mistakes going forwards. You need to be very disciplined throughout your preparation. You need to be disciplined and you need to be consistent. Once again, I'll say that it's not something unachievable, it's not something impossible, but you need to be disciplined in your life to do anything, let apart CSS. So if you just like cram through, or if you just be non-serious throughout the year, you'll study one subject a couple of days, you'll study another subject for a couple of more days, then you'll keep on changing your optional subjects. You'll keep on telling yourself that we have a lot of time, kar lenge, ho jayega. This approach is not going to help in CSS at all. So you need to be disciplined. You need to be focused throughout the year or throughout the months of your preparation. You need to have habits, healthy habits. If there are two type of students, one those study early mornings and one of those who study at late night. So either you are of either of the category. What you need to do is you need to make a schedule. If you wake up early morning, then you'll make sure that you wake up early morning in most of that 3 to 4 months. And if you are studying late night, then keep that cycle with you. One of the most common, another common mistake, a grieve mistake that student does is not practicing what they are doing. So as I've told earlier, that you need to make handouts of your preparation, and whatever you read, whatever you study, you need to kind of make a summary of it. You need to make handouts of it, and that would help you in final preparation or final attempting of the examination. So this comes under the other mistake, that students don't practice writing. Now, there's one thing that by making summaries or by making crux of the topics, what you are doing is you are kind of filtering out the content that will help you in final preparation, and it's also making you practice for your Pressy paper. Your Pressy writing is getting improved, but it's only improving your Pressy writing. What you also need to practice is you need to practice essay writing. You need to practice attempting 4 long questions of a paper, of a subjective paper, in 2.5 hours time. So this is one of the key in CSS preparation, that whatever you study, whatever you read, you need to practice it hard. If you won't, you'll end up failing that. What else do we have? Yes, the benefits of practice is practicing. It's a very common thing that practice makes a man perfect. So it will improve your muscle memory. It will improve your writing capacity. Because in universities these days we are not writing that much. Most of the stuff we are studying online. We have soft copies of all of the books. So we are not making our fingers work. They are not in the practice to write a long, lengthy papers. So CSS, unfortunately, this is a dilemma still, that we are still following for long, very subjective question. But this is how it is, and you have to prepare accordingly, according to the rules of the game. So you need to practice writing 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours daily. It will improve your muscle memory of your fingers. It will improve your handwriting. It will improve your writing capacity. Handwriting does matter. Presentation does matter. It's not that if your handwriting is not readable and you'll end up passing your exam. No, it should be readable enough. You must have written the first question and the last question equally well. That could be understood by the writer, by the examiner. So if you fail to do so, if the examiner is having difficulty in reading your questions, he won't like give you good marks. So that's another dilemma, that we do have students who don't have a very good handwriting, but this is something you need to work on, because again, it's an exam of every uh, s- every step. If it's an exam of every sort of, you say, your test of psychology, physicalness, muscle memory, everything. So you need to be prepared for that. Let me see some questions here, if there is any. Are we going to make notes of everything, or should we? Is it common for having 2, 3 notebooks of notes? No, no, no. You don't need to have 2, 3 books. Who is this? Hasnan. No, Hasnan, you don't need to have 2, 3 notebooks of notes that you have to make. It should be, as I've told, take one paper, one side of a paper. This should cover one of your topic, and the back side should cover second of your topic. And when I say topic, it's the sub outlines in the FPSC guidelines. So this is how you'll end up making your notes. Stan, were you able to hear my answer?
No, sorry, I got disconnected.
Okay, so your question was that the question Stan has posted is that how to make notes, and should we make notes that end up making 2 to 3 notebooks of a particular subject? No, not at all. So I was telling that what you need to do is you need to take one side of a paper, an A4 size paper, and one side of that should conclude one of your topics. You need to write small, you need to write in points, you need to write precise of your topic. That would be readable in the final exam. Not anything of, like, for example, if you have 2 papers in one day, how would you be able to read 2 to 3 notebooks of your notes? So that's a very wrong strategy. You need to make notes of the bullet points that FPSC has mentioned in your syllabus. You need to read your syllabus very, very thoroughly. You need to make a list of the topics, and believe me, the topics are around 20 to 40 topics, if I must say that. The paper revolves around these topics. You have very common topics like war and terrorism. You have common topics like globalization. You have common topics like climate change. So that's not going to, you should have one question or one paper or 2 papers of a climate change topic, and that would help you in all of your current affairs, international affairs, or even Pakistan affairs topic as well. You need to consider all of the aspects, and then you need to write that down. So this is how you will make your notes. And talking about the strategy of 4 to 6 months, it's simple. Take out your days, take out your working hours. At least if you're doing job, as I was doing job during my final attempt, I was doing 8 hours job, 9 hours job, and I was studying 5 hours per day at the night. It was very hectic. But those who are not doing any job, they do have 8 to 12 hours per day to study. So it's very easy to divide your day. Then again, there are 2 strategies. One is that few of the students, they divide a subject. They're more focused. They can study one subject at a time. So they'll give 1 week to a particular subject. Then there come students which don't uh, study a particular subject. They can't study one single subject. They get bored easily. They don't keep their interest. So what they do is they tend to study 2 or 3 subjects at a time. So it's up to you, your personal preferences. But you need to divide your 4 months. What you can do is you can divide 2 months for compulsory and 2 months for optional. 1 week for each subject. Go weekly, I would say. Don't go more than 5 to 7 days. If you are starting today and you have 4 months left, then give 7 days to each subject, and then come back and keep the cycle rotating, and then shorten the time. And going from January onwards, you just need to revise all of your subjects from your notes. Okay, and yeah, also another key, I'll tell you that you can write this down as well. What you need to do is pick any topic, and then make key points on the following categories. It's economic importance, its social importance, its importance or its impact on the surroundings, on the geography, on the region, on your country, its international importance, its national importance, its importance with respect to Pakistan in particular, its importance with respect to our neighborhood, its importance with respect to the Muslim hood, its background, its introduction. Don't forget to write conclusion. Another mistake have come into my mind, that one of the another common mistake is that students won't write conclusion to their answers. No, must write conclusion to your answers. Even in subjective papers, when you are attempting 4 questions at a time, in a single paper, be it current affairs, be it Pakistan affairs, whatever you are writing, everything, whatever you write, whether in CSS exam or any other uh, arena, whatever you write, there should be some conclusion. There must be some conclusion. It's simple as that. If you read a book, or if you read a topic, or if you read an article, there is an end to that. So sometimes the examiner has so much burden that he'll just focus on what's your approach, and that approach should be summarized in your conclusion. So that's another mistake to avoid during your CSS preparation. I'll go towards what we are offering with Tabir here. I'll go to our website, I'll go to our courses, and then you'll get to know what we are offering here. We do have Habiba with us. She'll elaborate a bit more for the courses as well, and then we'll have the question answer sessions. So what makes Tabir unique is that the idea behind Tabir is that it's not something that would help you in cramming the exam. It would help you in mastering the skill of any subject apart from CSS as well. And in CSS, what the subjects we are offering is it will help you in mastering those subjects. How? Because we have made a program, we have developed a software that would raise your difficulty level like a game. It's kind of a gamification of anything that you are studying, not something that you'll listen to a lecture, 1 or 2 hour lecture, and you'll be making your notes. No, this would be like you are passing on slides, or you are passing on a course. You will get milestones, you will get questions within, like just similar to international standards. You will get questions. Upon filling out those questions, you will raise your level. You will get a suggested answer that how this question should have been solved by one of our mentors, by those who have already cracked the CSS exam. They have passed the exam, so they'll be sending you how the answer should have been, and you will match your answer with them. You'll realize which points you have mentioned, or which points you have skipped in the answer. And then with this, when you'll end up your course here with Tabir Academy, you won't even need to revise that course. You'll be so much conceptualized. You would be writing everything down with your own hands. You'll be attempting every topic, every question around that topic, even MCQs of that topic, just after when you finish the course. So when you finish the topic, you'll give a small exam, and that would end up in conceptualizing what you have read, and in memorizing what you have read, and at the end of the course, you'll be prepared to sit in the exam. So I'll go through the Tabir website. Is the screen visible? Okay. So what programs we are offering at Tabir apart from CSS? So we are offering subjects. We are offering courses for MCAT, ECAT, defense forces, and our main goal is CSS here. I'll jump into the CSS directly. We are making some more courses. Currently, what we are offering is 6 different courses, including CSS International Relations, CSS Gender Studies course, CSS Pakistan Affairs, Current Affairs, how to study the CSS screening test, and we do have some weekly updates regarding some regular MCQs, day-to-day MCQs coming up and adding up in your syllabus. So you can choose one of these courses. You can choose multiple courses at a time, or you can choose one of these courses. When you'll pick your course, okay, it's loading. Yeah. So picking up one of course, you'll get its description, what we are offering here. It's some of its background. Okay, and then while going through the course, you'll get question answer. You can also have a trial to test how we are presenting something different. You can start your trial, you can subscribe, or you can directly buy the course. Habiba will share in the YouTube description and in the chat as well the promo codes for this particular seminar or webinar. So if you choose that promo code, you'll get some discount on your course offerings. But it's something that you must try, and it's something which nobody is presenting these days. It's an interactive course system, and this would not only help you in prepping for the CSS, it will also make you practice for your CSS exams. You can go to the Tabir website as well. You can post any questions here regarding the courses. You can post any question on the YouTube link. Those who have joined from the YouTube, they can post anything there, and our resources would reply you and tell you the details, how to use the promo code, how to enroll in it, how to use trial version. So this is something you must try. And if you are a beginner, this is for you. This is like custom made for you, which will help you passing out your CSS exam. So we can take the question answers. Okay, so Mahnoor Abasi, she's asking, is there any specific limit or length that must be maintained in answering questions in CSS exam, particularly Pakistan affairs and current affairs? So yes, Mahnoor, we should keep in mind the length of the question. But what's important is that if you whether you have been able to understand the question since the past 3 to 4 years, or let's say 5 to 6 years, since they have changed the syllabus of the courses, the PSC changing the content of the courses. What they have been doing is they have been giving very lengthy questions. The question itself is divided into 2 to 3 parts. So if you take any paper from CSS 2021 or 2022, you'll suppose Park Studies, you'll see that the examiner is himself telling what he's asking in the question, and he's asking in a manner that it will divide the topic into 2 to 3 different ways. For example, the examiner is asking in 2022 CSS 2022 paper, in Park Studies paper, that he's asking, explain the federal structure, the change in federal structure after the 18th Amendment. So what he's saying here is that you need to explain how the federal structure of the cabinet of the parliament has changed after the 18th Amendment, and what are its impacts, and again why there is a recent wave of criticism on it. So here he has asked around 2 to 3 things, and when you attempt your question, you need to make sure that you have answered all of these things very appropriately. And I would say that for all of the topics or all of the questions, the things I have been doing, and I guess that's something my success mentor, I would say, passing CSS twice. What I did was I made sure against each question and against each answer, I write 4 to 5 points. Now, when you are writing those 4 to 5 points, that depends upon you, and your writing speed and your writing practice would determine that how much you can write. But you need to write 4 to 5 points at least of arguments of every question and every topic. There can be topics which would be very extremely tough to go to 4 to 5 points or 4 to 5 arguments. There you can adjust to 3 arguments. But otherwise, you need to give 4 to 5 arguments of a particular statement. And your handwriting speed and your length of the question would determine how much you have to write in it. So when you are practicing these exams at home, see that if you are able to write 4 to 5 arguments, and if an examiner asks 2 things in a question, then it would be around 8 to 10 arguments. How fast you can write those arguments? So if your handwriting speed is good, then what you need to do is you need to give headings. You need to give subheadings of those, and you would need to explain. There's a rule in CSS preparation that says, or in a debating culture that says, point, explanation, example, point, P-E-P. Write this down. So when you follow the PEEP rule, that would say point, your argument, example of your argument, explanation of your argument, and then repeating the point again. So this should be done in a manner depending upon your handwriting speed. It doesn't matter what's the length. It matters is if you are able to answer a question in 30 minutes and you have like 3 hours, half an hour is for MCQ paper, you get 2 hours and 30 minutes. Divide 2 hours for your question, take 30 minutes for each question or 35 minutes for each question. Spare 10 to 15 minutes because you'll drink some water within, you'll change your pen. Anything could happen. You'll just yawn or you'll just take 5 minutes break within the paper. So take 10 to 15 minutes at the end, leave them apart. So divide your paper into 2 hours, 30 minutes each, and see how much you can write in those 30 minutes. What you need to, I'll tell you what you need to write. You need to write arguments, 4 to 5 arguments of each statement, whether you are defending or whether you are going against. You need to have a conclusion of your question, whether it's subjective paper, Park Studies, or current affairs. So when you are able to finish your question in 30 minutes, see what you can write. If you can write 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, or 4 pages, it doesn't matter. You need to have 4 to 5 solid arguments, some examples, some explanation of that. And that could be 1 or 2 pages as well. It doesn't matter if you have conveyed your answer, if you have given some arguments, then you can write even 2 pages. That would help you. Any more questions?
Okay, so here in the comment, Habiba has shared the promo code against this webinar. So if you enroll in these webinars, please use this promo code. This would help you in availing some discount, and I'll be in touch with you if there are any questions. Yeah, I've already answered that, the question from us then. We'll wait a couple of more minutes for any more questions. So it depends upon your level. As I've said at the very start of the webinar, that it's ultimately you who are going to assess your capabilities. I won't say that you don't need to join an academy or you need to join academy, but courses like what we are offering here is it will help you in evaluating your answers. For example, in our courses at Tabir here, we are even giving the sample answers with you. So for that, you need to consult someone, right? Going into the CSS for the very first time, you don't know what's your sample answer is, what your standard answer is. So here you'll be able to see your standard answer. But if you are very bright and if you have been very good in academics and you think like you can do this on your own self, you can do that as well. So there's no harm in going for a solo preparation, or there's no harm in going joining some academy. But you need to be sure what you are joining the academy for, and you need to make sure that this is the purpose I'm going there, or this is the detailed subject which I'm opting for. Sometimes you can what you can do is for a particular optional subject which you have not read in your academic career, you can join one course or you can join some academy. So it's not a compulsion that you need to join academy for all of your CSS preparation. You can do that at home as well. It's not something impossible. But again, you must get yourself evaluated. You must get yourself some standards of CSS. It's not like you can just blindly go into the CSS exam, trusting your own set of skills and not knowing what's happening in the field. What's the standard length of the answers? What's the standard way of writing an answer? So there you'll need to consult someone. But for preparing preparation of a CSS subject, you can do that at home as well. Or if possible, you can like the subjects which are of your interest or of your background, you can study them at your own. And the subjects you face difficulty with, you can join any academy for that, or in particular our session as well, because in this we are going to offer you preparation as well along with your answers. If we have got another question that if we can pursue a medical degree and attempt the CSS exam accordingly. I don't actually get the question. There can be two answers for this. One is that you need to pursue a medical degree and do CSS simultaneously, CSS preparation simultaneously. So, being a doctor of pharmacy myself, I would say it's very difficult, but it's not impossible. I passed the CSS exam, first CSS exam right after my completing my 5 years doctor of pharmacy degree. So, I was that actually helped me because in medical studies we study a lot. Our brain is very much trained to write or memorize a lot of stuff. So that actually helped me. So we can do those combined if you are asking about simultaneously preparing for those of both of these. And if you are asking that someone with a medical degree can appear in CSS, yes, for sure, you can do that as well. For medical students, there's a rule that if you have qualified 2 years of your medical studies, then you can give one English paper and you can get a graduation or bachelor degrees. And on the basis of that, you can even apply in CSS. You don't need to complete your whole degree to apply in CSS. But even after doing your MBBS or medical, you can apply in CSS and pass that. There are a lot of doctors sitting in the system who are like either ASPs or assistant commissioners. All right, students, thank you for your participation and your questions. I hope this session has helped you, and I hope enrolling in our courses would help you. You can reach out to the Tabir Academy resources for any further details. We will have a follow-up session next week as well with a new topic.